Let me take you to perhaps something that is of national interest. What we've seen, the girl of defections that we see in the country today. Mr. Femi Falana, the senior advocate of Nigeria, said, look, this is illegality, considering the premise on which some of the lawmakers are given for their defection, which he says is against the premise of the Supreme Court judgment between Abegunde and Ondo State House of Assembly. What's your take?
Well, Mr. Femi Falana, the senior advocate of Nigeria, rightly put it to a point, but I have something against his position in the sense that he believes that before you can have the defection, the division has to be total. But by the time you look at the Constitution, that's Section 68, 1G, has a proviso. That Constitution, when you give it the literary interpretation, outlaw defection in whatsoever way. Outlaw it, and that is why you see that the proviso is to the effect that when there's a problem, when there is a division, and even if you should have that division, when you look at that section very well, it doesn't mean that once there's a division, you have to run to another party. You don't have to. Once there is division, it's for you to move to that division of that political party where it may go. Not that there will be division in APC, then you now choose to go to Labour Party or PDP. And apart from that, and that is why when you check that proviso very well, the Constitution is so clear on the fact that gives the room that even if there is that division or there is a little bit of coalition or the merger, that is when. But in this issue, we have not seen any clear division in APC, and apart from that, APC is not in merger with PDP that will give the APC legislator to rush to PDP. And as it is, the defection, I hope and I believe the party involved will contest it to have the clear provision and clear interpretation. And you mentioned the case of Abegunde and Labour Party. That one is so clear. What the Supreme Court was called upon to look at is whether there is any total division. And the Supreme Court even moved ahead to raise the fact that when you have that division, it will have been so impracticable for that political party to function, to act, that will make them to have a faction that you can now move to that faction, not that you move to entire political party.
Mr. Ajulo, let me allow Mr. Nwanko to weigh in on this. With the provision of the law, Mr. Nwanko, are the lawmakers at risk of losing their seats, considering what is on the ground, the situation in their party, and the provision of the law?
Well, clearly the Constitution outlaws cross-carpeting. If you're a legislator elected on the platform of one political party, you must stay there. There is, of course, the exception, which is bordering on division within the political party. You cite the case of Abegunde. Certainly, what happened in that case was it went to court. Now, two issues arising from the defections in the National Assembly is whether there is sufficient divisions within any political party at all, whether it is the one party or the other, and people moving across carpets, whether the divisions are sufficient enough to qualify under the exceptions that the Constitution outlines. And we can have all the debate we want, but it's a judicial interpretation. And I think it's something that any of the political parties who feel that there has not been sufficient factionalization or division within its party necessitating the cross-carpeting should go to court and get the court to make decisions rather than take the laws into their hands. Secondly, there is nothing in the Nigerian Constitution that says that a presiding officer in the National Assembly must come from one party or the other. Indeed, you could, in the National Assembly, you have one or two ABGA seats. You could actually elect an ABGA representative or senator to be the president of the Senate or the deputy. So there's nothing in the Constitution that says that one person must, or the president of the Senate must come from the party with the highest number of senators, or the speaker with the highest number of House of Representative members. At the end of the day, I think for a lot of Nigerians, very disappointed with the political system, very disappointed with governments at all levels, including states and federal. This country has been disappointed by politicians, And I think what is most important is that this country should prepare for the next elections, and any activities that will disrupt this really becomes unconstitutional, and citizens must prepare to react to this. But we should not allow the fight of the politicians, and the politicians should not bring their fight into disrupting the constitutional process. Certainly, the Constitution is very clear on what could lead to factionalization or division, or how that plays out.
Okay.
There's nothing in the Constitution that...
All right, let's take a quick break, Mr. Nwankwo. APC, PDP, RAPC trade words over allegations of the forceful takeover of the leadership of the National Assembly. That takes our focus when we come back from this break, everyone. Join us again. Let's close the program now. My panel, please, in 30 seconds each, please, if you may weigh in on this and give us your final thoughts on what is happening in the National Assembly. 30 seconds, please. Mr. Nwankwo, let me begin with you.
First of all, to say that I think the National Assembly should reconvene. I think the executive should commit to respecting the independence of the legislature and allow for the National Assembly to reconvene in peace and do its work and go back on their holidays. Secondly, there is nothing in the Constitution that says that the presiding officers in the chambers of the National Assembly must come from a particular political party.
All right.
In 1983, 1979, Chief Edwin Umozoke, who was from a minority party.
Let's allow Mr. Ajulo to give us his final words, just in 30 seconds. Mr. Ajulo, your final words, please.
Well, it's so clear that when you look at the provision of the Constitution, there is nowhere the law says that the president of the Senate or the Speaker must come from the ruling political party. If we have such in the National Assembly. And apart from that, that's why you see that it's so clear that you have the majority leader, you have the minority leader. That one really, really.
Okay. I'm afraid we're out of time. But I must really thank you, my partner tonight on the program, Mr. Kaudi Ajulo, a lawyer and a former National Secretary of the Labour Party, Mr. Clement Nwankwo, a lawyer, rights activist, and the convener of the Election Situation Room. Thank you for coming on the program. That's our show for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. Bye-bye.